I was just sitting here on this warm winter evening, and I remember that many of you recommended some other Stalker mods for me. Anomaly has already worn me out for now, so I dove straight into the wild swamps of story-driven Stalker modding, and on a certain well-known website, I decided to pick the highest-rated modification. And thank God, the installation did not require selling organs on the darknet. I present you Spatial Anomaly. High-quality voice acting, memorable characters and moral choices, atmosphere of hopelessness. Damn, I'm in. So after launching this beauty, we set a somewhat human resolution, mute this rock and roll and start, for some reason without a difficulty selection. That's concerning. When the game hides the suffering settings, it usually means it has already chosen the worst one for you. We play as a mercenary named Beast, who was looking at a bloodsucker wearing a rope and deciding he must have reached the peak of alcoholic delirium and went to sleep to sober up. We wake up in some shack on a bed, surrounded by dudes. I really hope I did not thank them in any questionable way for saving me last night, but still, they warn us that mercenaries are not welcome here and will be closely watched. After talking a bit more, we find out that they saved us from an mission, which we somehow survived, and that we are currently inside some kind of spatial anomaly, with food, water and ammo already running out. Suddenly, they sound the alarm, zombies are approaching the base, and they ask us to help fend off the attack. Holy shit, is that my flashlight? Buddy, mind lighting the way for me? But our buddy immediately got a bullet, and after we deal with those poor bastards, we give this lucky man our medkit. On one of the zombie corpses, we find a note saying they were a duty squad searching for something and wandering a bit farther than they should have. Returning to the leader, we report the job done when suddenly a controller spawns right at our doorstep and grabs everyone except me by their psychic balls. Half a mark to the face is not an argument for you. Noted. Obviously, that bastard was the reason zombies showed up.
Savage.
Because everyone here must have a nickname that screams insecurity, shower us with gratitude and marvel at our immunity to mental domination. We casually explain that our brain has already been used as a stress toy once before, and now any further psychic foreplay only triggers laughter. What can you do?
Beast
is built different. But we don't exactly look like $1 million, more like 3,500 rupees, so they strongly recommend we get some rest. Considering we are low on food, I hope you won't eat me while I'm asleep. The next day began wonderfully. I woke up, smiled and got to important tasks. First of all, it suddenly got very loud here and we are asked to investigate the source of the noise. Guys, I'm not exactly a sound engineer, but I'm pretty sure that's a helicopter. Where is it? Oh shit. By some miracle, there's one survivor after that crash. Naturally, we shower him with our remaining medical generosity and observe as he limps toward the base like a wounded penguin. Though the last 2 meters he suddenly walks confidently, looks like the zone already healed him. The poor guy turned out to be a soldier. They flew in here by mistake and honestly, he should just go get some sleep. Our schedule, however, is fully booked. Savage sends us to assist 2 legendary figures,
Snake
and Knuckleback. It's like someone let a 40-year-old name the entire roster. Snake needs help purifying water, specifically gathering some anomalous flowers that filter it, and Knuckleback wants us to shoot a few boars running nearby to get us some meat. Looks like we are going hungry today. Or maybe I scrap a few scraps of the ground at least. So after reloading and finally getting a couple of chunks of meat, we head to the campfire to cook them.
Пока, наемник. Будет разговор,
How do
приходи.
Can you help me? Why isn't this... Oh shit. Dinner's ready, boys. Turns out you need a campfire outside the base to cook meat. The fire on base is not fancy enough for that, apparently. Ceremoniously handing over our half-raw radioactive slop, we get showered with compliments about how amazing our cooking skills are. Then they send us back to Savage. He has another job for us. What a busy day. We are asked to find some poor guy named Scavenger who used to pull supplies out of his ass like rabbits from a hat, and everyone here apparently owes him their lives. Cutter and the Mosquito already went looking for him, unsuccessfully. God, I'm pretty sure they invented these nicknames themselves. Outside the anomaly, they're undoubtedly recognized as simpler men, perhaps named after birds and cheap alcohol. Using some clues, we search for the guy in this circus and stumble into a teleporter that drops us right next to his corpse. In the distance, we see that familiar hooded bloodsucker watching us, and on the corpse we find a PDA. Guys, are you sure this is an anomaly? Feels more like the Truman Show. Reading the PDA, we learn the guy was actually a bandit and looter, killing stalkers who got trapped here and stealing their supplies. He also hid a stash somewhere, but of course he didn't bother to say where. We tell Savage all this crap, completely destroying his worldview, and he gives us a task to find that stash. Yeah, we'll get to it. Eventually. And once again we rush to help. They are not giving us a break today, this time to Knucklehead, who brings fantastic news. A chimera is wandering nearby and we need to take it out. At night, while it sleeps. Damn, maybe I'm missing something, but I thought a chimera was a night predator. Like, what's next? Flying to the sun at night? Of course, we promise to help and meet him at 2 a.m. In the meantime, we find our lost backpack in a pipe and go to see the sergeant, who's been promoted to an honorable location, the basement. And he asks us to find batteries and 2 coils of copper wire to fix the radio. Guys, do you expect me to finish all this before evening? Since the dance has already begun, we also promise Mosquito to find ammo for his sniper rifle, and Sledgehammer wants fuel for the generator. Anyone else need help? No? Good. I'm going to sleep. A hard night is coming.
Химера уже в бункере. Напасть нужно неожиданно. Не дай ей покинуть бункер, иначе беда. Если она все-таки выберется наружу, я поддержу огнем. Вперед!
Okay. Wait, what? Are you fucking kidding me? Jesus Christ, why I'm not surprised? On the 6th attempt, the Chimera finally got smacked down. Not without the help of those sandbags, the ultimate weapon against the deadliest mutants of the zone. Returning to base, I was already planning to collapse into bed and erase this nightmare from my memory, but they tell me that Marcus wants to see me. Well, so much for sleep. And here's the deal. Originally, they had another leader, someone named Shell, a tough guy in an exoskeleton with a machine gun. Probably not a great sign that he is emphasizing that part, but anyway, he disappeared a long time ago, but recently his PDA signal flickered for a moment in an abandoned shelter. Very well then, I'll deal with it in the morning. In a shelter, we find a note on the table saying someone will be waiting for someone here at night. I hope it's not Snake and Mosquito planning to steal each other in the dark, but when we come back after sunset, we find some kind of phantom who offers us a drink. Well, can't get any worse, I suppose. The fuck? Why every firefight here is a fucking boss fight? Killing Shell, we take his machine gun, his stacks, and get teleported back to the basement, where some old dude named Hermit is already waiting for us, ranting some mysterious crap. Fortune favors you, mercenary, but fate has its eye on you now. You must be vigilant and rely on your skills and intuition more than your luck. Do not let yourself be fooled once more. How do you know all this, old man? I know many things. Jesus, I'm dying. Reporting back to Marcus about our intense night, we rush to a sudden source signal and find a terrified guy who freaks out even more when he sees I'm a merc. But I'm not here to babysit. We have a serious situation, so shut your mouth and pull yourself together. Excuse me, my bad. Next time, showing maximum care and understanding, we managed to convince the poor guy to come with us to the base. Damn, look at this machine gun. Looks like I'm carrying it on my shoulder. Talking to him, we learned that he was running from some mercenaries after they found out he was listening to their transmission, and in panic he jumped into a bubble that teleported him here. He has a broken transmitter with him and is willing to give us the batteries, which we deliver to the sergeant. Then we help Marcus and the crew hunt some flashes and gather meat again, but when we come back, Marcus is nowhere to be found. Shocking. We head to the last known location of his signal and get knocked out. Ooh, a familiar song. Sounds like a second wind. We wake up in some cave next to a terrified Marcus, who panics while telling us he saw the hooded bloodsucker, and we call him down by saying we've seen him too. And once we both see him together, Marcus, as usual, tells me to go find a way out while he sits and does absolutely nothing. By the way, here lies a backpack with a signal transmitter. You have to pick it up or you simply won't be allowed out here. Climbing up, we meet an old acquaintance, I suppose, Obscurant, who also knocks us out. And if you thought our suffering ended here, trust me, it absolutely did not. In the best Hollywood traditions, right in the middle of the plot, they decided to show us the backstory, how we ended up like this, and what a ruthless, no-nonsense bastard beast used to be. Raven, congratulate us on becoming the leader of our operations group and warn us that a bunch of people in our syndicate have already started blowing jealous snot bubbles. So we'd better keep our eyes open before someone decides to screw us over. Noted. We go deal with some stalker scum who barged into our base at the Cordon's ATP like they own the place. Clearly, these douchebags haven't seen anything more dangerous than rats recently, because showing up 3 of them to a mercenary base and demanding everyone get out immediately can only be described as total lack of survival instinct, catastrophic misunderstanding of the food chain, and extreme levels of being not okay in the head. So we expressed our complete disagreement with a point-blank execution of these idiots, buried them by the nearest fence, and moved on with our business. And trust me, we have work up to our necks. Mostly we are running errands for Sidorovich, the classic fetch it, bring it, leave it, plus a few quests from other characters. And I'm not going to focus on every single mission here unless you enjoy watching 2 hours of sprinting across an empty map, occasionally shooting dogs under a bridge where they spawn endlessly every 10 minutes. What's worth noting? Beast save a few stalkers, then used one of them as bait. Interrupt me again and you'll get a bullet to the face! Whoa, what a badass! That's our contact from HQ.
Style. Style is the answer to everything.
Professionalism at its finest. Also here we meet Knuckleback for the first time. Turns out our introduction happened while we are hunting a pseudodog digging a flash drive out of its guts. Meanwhile, a mercenary almost killed us, hired by Obscurant, the same guy who knocked us out in the anomaly. We are also asked to jump into a teleport bubble and check where it leads. Obviously, the perfect job for a mercenary hitman. So we take a running start and leap into that thing, ending up in a tunnel in front of terrified guy who nearly died on the spot from fear. Returning to the client, we stumble onto the corpse of that same poor bastard, whom we saw alive a minute ago on the opposite side of the map. Absolute nonsense happening here, my dudes. Then we start hearing a familiar voice.
Иди ко мне.
And following it, we discover that very same controller who previously sucked our brains dry. In this timeline, he actually manages to turn my brain into soup. But nothing can defeat a man capable of pressing F9. So this time, striking preemptively, we take down that creature who looks painfully similar to one of the drunk construction workers from my neighborhood. So yeah, we spent so long doing random bullshit instead of our actual mission, finding and killing some former colleague from our syndicate, that the command removed us from the position and put that bastard in charge instead. Well, after that, everything went downhill, and while chasing the target, we ended up in this very special anomaly. And now, back to where we left off. We wake up in a basement where our former mercenary group is holding us hostage. They are trying to squeeze out of me where some compass artifact is, take away my scanner, the only way to escape this anomaly, and then they straight up execute Sledgehammer. Damn guys, you are real professionals. But I shouldn't have been too cocky. They drag me upstairs, and just as Obscurant is about to shoot me, the familiar tentacle freak shows up and makes the bastard shoot himself. And he's a real pro too. The first bullets completely miss. I'm starting to think this creature is my guardian angel. And suddenly Marcus appears and takes us to a warehouse for which he finally found the key. And inside there's enough firepower for a proper squad. Now I'm ready to lay every merkin that she can coop into the ground. First, I need to cut their power and then treat them to premium bullets. 1 serving per person. Oh my god, real food, finally! While I was entertaining our guests, Marcus managed to pull off his plan in the bunker. Free the others, take a couple mercs hostage, and the rest simply run away. By the time we reach the bunker, which is now our new base, those captured mercs were already shot, and we are tasked with flipping a switch on the ground. They somehow got the key already, and after slamming the metal grate into my face for good luck, we head down and find a group of duty. Convincing the sergeant not to ventilate my skull, we are sent to talk to the general. Yes, a whole general is commanding a force of 4 people, and we disappoint him with the news that he won't see daylight anytime soon. He declines our offer to hang out, so we return to report everything to our own people, and suddenly we time skip a whole month ahead. Turns out, who could have guessed, a diet consisting of radioactive boars, mingy dogs and diseased fleshes does not add health, youth and longevity. We needed to find 3 doses of medicine for our friends, but only found 2. And of course, we must decide who dies. But the choice is an illusion. I didn't want to give anything to that bold weirdo, but he and Marcus get saved anyway, because Knucklehead simply refuses treatment, saying he is an old fart, he's lived enough and it's time to kick the bucket. Our hero wandered around for a couple of days, hoping to find something else, but the old man died, leaving us a heartfelt note about how he always saw us as an asshole, but changed his opinion before dying. Well, rest in shit, buddy. We continue our pathetic attempts to exist in this circus. For example, we should finally establish contact with our neighbors, the ones living under a cloud of zone filth. Even monoliths started showing up here. At least they supply us with food and ammo. The general asks us to find something to eat, to which we reply we'd also gladly devour something fatty and tasty, but they ask us to find 8 portions of normal food because they claim their brains are bigger than ours and they won't be eating rotten mutant meat. After laying down a whole platoon of monolith over the course of a few days just for a couple sticks of sausage and some bread, we feed the brave fighters against the zone's infection and continue exterminating that infection ourselves. Yeah, we'll get to it. Eventually. Also, this poor guy asked us to find his weapon, which he dropped while running away from a bloodsucker. Truly, duty at its finest. The bloodsucker, having presumably read the script and knowing we'd come for the gun, decides to pre-order our corpse, but failed against our beast and went straight to digital hell. And so, having made some friends and receiving 3 artifacts as thanks, we got at Marcus's request to investigate a strange signal near a shed. Not a second of peace. And you won't believe who that signal came from. From that black, not fully loaded texture bastard. The Forester. The same one we met in the Red Forest in the anomaly. The old fart still hasn't died from cirrhosis, woke up hungover and heard our distress signal for the first time in a whole month, grabbed his compass artifact, the one, and rushed here to help us. Well then, let's go introduce you to the guys. But suddenly another signal from the same direction, this time in the basement, where we find some poor guy whose delirium I didn't even try to understand. His brain was clearly dripping out of his ears already, and the only thing I caught was that we need to give this artifact to some body, so the money for it goes to his widow. Not even a half-minute passes and the general himself calls, screaming urgency. What the fuck is going on? We rush downstairs and walk straight to a metaphysical comedy show. The general stuck in some kind of mini spatial pocket anomaly, he can't take a step out of it, and we can't get close to him either. Turns out that from the moment he sent that message, a whole week passed, even though we ran to him in just 30 seconds. During that time, the colonel lost his mind and decided the best way to escape the anomaly is to escape live, and took the others with him. While the general has been standing in one spot, shitting and pissing himself, waiting for death to finally clock in. A more absurd and unlucky end is hard to imagine, so we leave him to finish that AFK journey alone and sprint back to our personal alcohol-powered savior, the Forester. And finally, I got out of that cursed anomaly, of that godforsaken cage, only to end up in another cage. The local stalkers who we got yeeted to decided that a beast like me should stay behind bars. And I might have been fine with a bit of rest, but they are two bandit convicts in the same cell, and we all know how they greet fresh fish in a prison. Main thing is not to turn my back to them and definitely not fart, otherwise they'll think I'm flirting. But after a couple of days they decided to release me. Savage put in a good word for me. Item received. Tapeworm. Thank you very much. Considering how wide they stretched my ass in here, a draft could blow him out of me. Beast still decided to start a new life, so time to treat people like humans, starting by giving Bolded the artifact from the deranged poor guy like we promised. Then we talked to Savage and learned that Marcus did not survive the transition from the anomaly and died somewhere along the way. Shame about that guy. The rest already scattered long ago, unable to tolerate each other's faces any longer. Now, let's say hi to Sorrel, who was in no hurry to let me out of the cage. Trust still needs to be earned, so we asked to find a stalker named Lefty, for some reason killed his buddy Lame and disappeared. He is definitely still somewhere on this map, but searching is up to us. For details, we go to Rasputin, who asks us not to shoot Lefty on sight. He doesn't believe the guy could kill his best friend and suggests a deeper investigation. Lefty, Lefty, where the hell are you? Not here. Not here. Not here. Definitely not here. And not here. Suddenly, at the steel factory, we find two bandits yelling for someone inside the workshop. Must be Lefty. Too excited to wait, we feed the bandits some lead and ask the poor guy how he ended up like this. Turns out, he and Lame found a nice stash of artifacts and buried it away from the base. In their joy, they got hammered like pigs, treated a few other stalkers, and then Lame, for some dumb reason, dragged the stash back to base. Lefty punched him for screwing up like that and ran into the woods to sober up. Later, Rasputin messaged him that the container was stolen, Lame got killed, and the whole thing was staged like Lefty did it. Interesting and unfortunately messy situation, so we explain everything to Sorrel in detail. Thankfully, this time they provided us a guide to the location. Sorrel, by the way, nearly folded into a pretzel from that story. Poor guy had like 3 strokes at once, just look at him. Still, he told us to bring Lefty here so they can interrogate everyone who got drunk with him that night. So we run back to the factory and find Lefty not exactly alive. Obviously, the killer had to leave evidence somewhere, and he did. A whole knife, the very one used for the murder. Rasputin immediately recognizes it as Chemist's knife and remembers how he was yelling recently and searching for it. So we catch our fish red-handed right at the crime scene when he came back for his knife. Case closed. Reporting back to Sorrel, Beast decides it's time to pack it up, but gets bad news. The only exit from here is occupied by a literal division of Monolith. Until we deal with them, we are basically locked up again. Christ, I'm so sick of this. While we think about how to pull this off, we pick up some side jobs. Find an artifact on a toxic tree, melt our legs in an anomaly, get our asses kicked by bandits, kick the bandits' asses back, kick their asses again and again. Then we head to the Freedom Boys, who also want something from me. I am literally running there with sparks from under my heels. Turns out the boys also want to get out of here, and they have a brilliant plan. Apparently, 2 high-ranking Monolith officers are about to switch shifts at the steel plant, and if we quietly pop them, the rest will become very disorganized and scattered like cockroaches, which I highly doubt. When we ask where they got this intel, they say they captured a Monolith member recently, and during interrogation he gave them the info. A Monolith member gave information? I highly doubt, but the plan is solid like a watch. A very shitty watch, built by children in a Nicaraguan factory, but still better than sitting around doing nothing. And just imagine, turns out there was an ambush waiting for us at the plant. A whole damn army of monoliths showed up, and Miklucha asked us to rush to the outpost and request help from the Stalkers. Would be great, except there are so many bastards here that you can't even stick your nose out. So all we can do is shoot them all to hell. And honestly, that should have solved everything because we did fight them off. But obviously, the developers did not account for the possibility that our merc is a freaking beast, capable of solo wiping everyone. So we sprint full speed to Sorrow anyway, who tells us he doesn't give a damn about freedom and won't send anyone. Why the hell did I run then? We return to the factory and discover that freedom fighters died anyway. Considering all enemies around were dead before I go, they probably died from cringe after seeing such a plot twist. We take Miklucha's PDA and bring it to Petrovich to decode. Petrovich, kind fellow, tells us he picked up a weird signal near that same factory, very similar to the one when I exited the spatial anomaly. Hoping Marcus somehow find a way back, we take the decoder and rush to the coordinates. After installing the decoder, we pull some mercs out the anomaly, and one of them, some fish, starts dumping some old grudges on me and, guess what? Knocks me out. I should start charging money for this. Fear not, noble audience. This narrative sewer pipe is almost flushed. The end is lurking just around the corner. We wake up at the outpost and some guy named Sologoop says he was watching us, and so absolutely no mercenaries. I was just standing there talking to thin air, then passed out and that familiar hooded freak appeared over me, but our savior scared it away. Interesting. We gave Petrovich his scanner back and asked him not to joke like that again, then go to Sorrow to find out what they dug in the Freedom Guy's PDA. Turns out he had a backup plan, and even shittier one. Get Monolith uniforms, infiltrate their base, plant explosive, and blow up the whole construction site. This genius of strategy, tactics, and operational planning decided that task should fall on me and Sologoop. We need 2 Monolith suits, and only one trader has them. He wants special rifles in exchange, which nobody here has. Hilarious. Suddenly, one of the bandits in the cell calls us over and says he knows how to get the weapons, but in exchange wants us to steal the key and quietly release them at night. We share this brilliant master plan with Sorrow because bandits never ever trick stalkers, right? And decide to play alone with this circus. Release them at night and wait for the signal telling us where to pick up the weapons. In the morning, we wake up to good news. The bandits replied and are waiting for us. We hope they won't immediately shoot us in the face, but turns out these guys are actually more noble than the loners at the outpost. They give us the rifles and we happily sprint back to Sorrel to hand everything over. While we wait for the uniforms, we get a visit from a hunter, nicknamed, you won't believe it, Hunter. He says he knows how to get out of this hole, but not for free. He needs help killing a super pseudo-flash that apparently even speaks with a human voice. Truly, the zone changes both people and pigs. We agree and of course decide to head out during a radioactive emission. Why the hell not? We find the flash, start the battle, and obviously Hunter would have been dead without us. Having earned the title of Badass and Mutant Slayer, Hunter says he'll hang around a bit longer and will whistle for us when he's moving out. Meanwhile, we go put on Monolith's racks and take
Savage.
with us, or more like he takes us, since he knows the long but safe road. Holy moly! Long but safe road. Having dealt with that annoying misunderstanding, we come to the Monolith commander, feed him some bullshit, go plant the bomb, and get knocked out! We wake up thanks to a Monolith guy who tells us that the Monolith knows everything, took Savage to a laboratory and chose me for some kind of trial. Coordinates already uploaded to PDA. We thank him politely and go ask Sorrow for help and advice, which was a mistake since he's still an absolute rat and bastard. Once again, he refuses to help anyone and gives the logical argument that it's a trap and Savage is dead anyway. Better to give up, calm down and go away with Hunter. Terrible idea. I want to finish this beautifully. The more violence, the better. But right at the entrance we were greeted by those leftover merc scumbags from the spatial anomaly. No idea what the hell they are doing here or why they have such light and fast reactions. You're not giving me a chance, huh? Next time we do not fall for it, so we send them a nice grenade package. Then we see that same tentacle freak, its name is Stronglove by the way, just noticed. We take the keycard and jump into a pit full of bloodsuckers. Next time we just bomb it first and then jump in. We shoot the unlucky monolith dudes, then leap 7 meters down, losing almost no health. In the anomaly, usually you die after falling 2 meters. We finish off the remaining idiots, and finally, in some psych ward, we find Savage, clearly vibing with the Wraith atmosphere. He says he's already broken, wishes us luck, and blows his brain out a minute later. Then we find that hermit guy, the one everyone including me forgot about. Turns out his entire plot twist is to inform us that Stronglove is inside us and will eat us alive as long as we live. So we must kill ourselves. Best news today, Hermit unsubscribes from life on the spot and we come face to face with that hentai monster. Mein Gott, finally! And this, by the way, is considered one of the best story modes. Just imagine what the others are like.